Hey guys, Dan here. We're going to talk about The Masked Singer. We had Group B performing again tonight. This was what they call the playoffs, so 5 people went down to 4 this evening, and we're going to go over them one by one. And this should be a pretty quick synopsis because I'm holding fast on several of my guesses from last week. We're going to go in order of their performances. So tonight, first up was the banana. This one actually is the one that's got me the most confused. So, based on some of the clues last week and the panel guessing some blue-collar comedy people, they really were peppering in the blue-collar references, and also Robin Thicke thought it might be Darius Rucker, so there was a Hootie reference. They do that on purpose once the panel guesses somebody. So they said Get Her Done. They said Hold My Hand, famous Hootie song. But I wasn't really concerned with any of that. Those all seemed like, just ruses. So, and as Jenny pointed out when Ken actually guessed Larry the Cable Guy, the dude in the banana costume is lean. Probably not Larry the Cable Guy. But the things that stuck out to me from the package were the clock that they displayed at his bedside said 2:13 p.m. was the current time, and then the alarm was set for 9:15, and then 6/8 was the current date, which would be June 8th. So that stuck out to me. They were talking about rebranding this person's image, like on a cable show or maybe a Chips-like cop show. He said he was still here after all these years. And then he said he's going to be rocking out as his authentic self. And then at the end of the performance, Nick was asking all of the people what their favorite subject in school was, and he said his was art class. None of those things really clued me in on anything, so they were kind of useless. But he sang Achy Breaky Heart from Billy Ray Cyrus. I don't know what to make of this. Now, last week I was thinking Bret Michaels. There was a whole party, tour bus motif kind of thing. I thought that made sense. I still sort of do. But the clues on the clock, the times and whatnot, I really am having trouble adding up. I believe it was the guest judge, Enrique Iglesias. Enrique Iglesias. I meant Gabriel Iglesias. Fluffy, not Enrique. He said he mentioned 213 is a Los Angeles area code, so I thought, okay, so maybe they're not talking about February 13th, the date, they're talking about the area code. So then I looked up what 915 was in area code, and that is in Texas. Can't figure out what the June 8th has to do with anything quite yet. I even looked up famous birthdays on the 8th of June, and there isn't anybody really. So, there's people, but it was like Kanye West and Jerry Stiller and just people that made no sense with the clues and the look of the banana. Obviously, it's somebody tall and lean. Somebody said Ted Danson. Was that for that? No, I'm sorry. That was for the taco, so forget that. I was just thinking tall. Ted Danson's very tall. But, okay, so Bill Engvall is from Texas originally, which would be 915 area code. He's from the Galveston area. I'm not sure if that specifically is 915. But he doesn't live in L.A. now. He lives in Arizona, so that's no help. Bret Michaels, who was my guest, now he, does live in L.A. now. His band broke in L.A. Poison, but he's from my area code, which is 717. He's from Central Pennsylvania. So the 915 doesn't add up there either. So I really don't know. So I was trying to listen to the voice and see who I think it is. And this one has me the most stumped. So I don't know. I don't really want to switch to anybody else because I don't have concrete enough clues about them. And the one thing that kind of stuck out to me at the end, rockin' out as my authentic self. He said he's going to rock out. But then he played Achy Breaky Heart, which is a country song. So I still think it's a rocker that wants you to think he's country. I'm still going to stick with Bret Michaels. I am less certain about it this time around, but I'm going to stick with him. and see where we go from there. Okay, so number 2 was the mouse, and that was who was voted off. So we'll actually come back to them. Number 3 was the frog. So we had a basketball. We had CSI on a typewriter, outlined in red letters. There's a $19 price tag. There was little green soldiers. And what he typed on the typewriter was, "Not every frog wants to be a prince." And so the panel kept saying, "Oh, there's all these Prince references." I guess there was a Prince reference last week that I must have missed. And then he said his favorite subject is PE, or gym class, and he played or sang "In the Club" by 50 Cent. All right. Now, my guess last week on this was Bow Wow. There were clues such as $106 on a ledge, 106th and Park, and there was a bag of leftovers. He has an album called Doggy Bag, and then he's also from Atlanta, which I didn't realize. Everybody was all on this 1996 Olympic thing, which, boy, they quickly forgot about that this week. Nobody was talking about the Olympics this week, but thank you to Paul, who wrote as one of the comments, the 1996 Olympics was held in Atlanta, which is where Bow Wow is from. So, okay. So, also his real name, by the way, is Shad Moss. So, like moss, frog. Okay. But so this week, it spoke even more to me as Bow Wow. The basketball is a reference to the very popular movie Like Mike, which he was basically the star of. It was him and I think the little kid from Jerry Maguire, Jonathan Lipnicki. But either way, Bow Wow was most definitely in it. He was one of the stars of it. And then the CSI thing, he played a regular role on one of the CSI series like 2 or 3 years ago. So he's done a little bit of acting. I can't figure out what the $19 price tag is for. And I don't get quite the Prince references. I don't know about that yet. But either way, I am more sure now with the basketball and the CSI bit that it is Bow Wow. And then, I don't know much about his adult voice. I know some of his songs when he was like still kind of like a tween. Like the song I really know from him is "Take You Home," and he was probably like 12 or 13 when that came out. So, I know his more childlike voice. But either way, the guy can obviously dance and rap. So I am doubling down on my Bow Wow guess for that. Number 4 was the taco. This one, I'm switching my guess from last week, but I'm pretty sure about it this time. So we were talking about, he said things were on the house, which might be a reference to Full House, because Robin Thicke thought last week it was Bob Saget, just like I did. He met the most stunning woman in the galaxy, and they had like a Gemini, like the constellation of Gemini there. So I don't know necessarily what that means. Maybe this girl is a Gemini or he's a Gemini. Then there was a toupee that kept coming and going on a plate. I wasn't quite sure what to make of that with this particular person. This is the one that somebody mentioned, like Ted Danson, maybe because of the toupee thing, but also I think it was Gabriel Iglesias that said it. There was like he thought some sort of reference to Whoopi Goldberg. I guess because she was on Star Trek, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I wasn't into that. But they did mention last week in the package, "I'm in a good place." And, of course, Ted Danson just wrapped up The Good Place. But I thought that was all meaningless. The reason I was thinking Bob Saget last week, I was really between two. I was between Bob Saget and Tom Bergeron. And I'm now on Team Bergeron. Last week they talked about, he's been a comforting part of our lives for decades. There was a stack of VHS tapes, which I thought, okay, America's Funniest Home Videos, maybe. And then there was a trolley. So all the panel thought San Francisco, but the trolley is specifically the trolley that goes to Make-Believe Land in Mr. Rogers. So I was thinking maybe it's not necessarily San Francisco, but a Mr. Rogers connection. What I didn't know at the time, which some of you pointed out to me in the comments from last week's video, that Tom Bergeron actually sang a song on a Mr. Rogers tribute record like 2 years ago. So that falls into place. The VHS tapes fall into place because of America's Funniest Home Videos. So tonight, with the clue package, when he was talking about meeting the most stunning woman in the galaxy, I didn't really look up his personal life, so I don't know much about that. But they were doing all these sort of ballroom type dances, and of course Tom Bergeron hosted, and I guess still does host, I think, Dancing with the Stars, which tapes in LA, so he would be in LA anyway doing that. So that all makes a lot of sense to me. So I am shifting America's Funniest Home Videos hosts from Bob Saget to, I think it is Tom Bergeron. I think you guys are right on that. It's interesting that no one has mentioned that from the judges. At least Robin last week said Bob Saget, but no one has said Tom Bergeron. But I was really listening to the voices this week too, and yeah, I think this is Tom Bergeron, like, for sure. He sang Bossa Nova Baby, which is an Elvis song that I don't really know, but the voice is, I think it's Tom Bergeron. I'm pretty sure about that. And then the kitty, I'm still with my guess on this one too. She said here that sewing is a hobby for her. Whether she's making a modern dress for a family ball. So she talked about Modern Family, which the judges picked up on. There was a Red Riding Hood transformation that the judges were very fixated on, especially Fluffy was talking about how it might be Amanda Seyfried because she was in the movie Red Riding Hood. I can't figure out a connection between Red Riding Hood and this particular person, but sometimes their connections are like big leaps. So I'm sticking with my guess of Sarah Hyland from Modern Family. The reason I say that is usually their clues aren't quite so on the nose in the clue packages, as long as someone has talked about this person before on the panel. But last week, nobody mentioned Sarah Hyland at all. So I think it was okay. Like, I think if somebody last week had said, oh, it might be Sarah Hyland, I don't think they would have said Modern Family in the package at all, because I think it's too on the nose. But since the panel was clued out to that completely, and even with that clue, Ken was the only one who said, I think it might be Sarah Hyland. Far be it for me to agree with Ken, but I still think it's Sarah Hyland. She sang Mercy, which is a Brett Young song. I don't know who Brett Young is. I don't know the song, but I thought it was a great performance. And again, listening to her voice, I'm getting a Sarah Hyland vibe from that. So I'm going to stick with that. Now for the mouse, this was a slam dunk. I think everybody pretty much got this. Last week, like half the panel was on board. This week, everybody but Ken. I think half the time the producers tell Ken, hey, say stupid crap, so it's not a slam dunk, so not everyone knows who it is. But this voice is unmistakable. It was, she was saying this week how she left a good job in the city, because somebody had mentioned Tina Turner last week, so they think, oh, we're going towards Tina Turner here. But there was Praying Hands in the clue package, which is a nod to this singer's hit song, I Say a Little Prayer. There were some Brazil nuts at the end. This person lived in Brazil for many years. I thought they were almonds, but Ken actually pointed out they were Brazil nuts. And just the voice. It's Dionne Warwick. It was an obvious one. She sang This Will Be an Everlasting Love, the classic from Natalie Cole. But really, it was very obvious last week, just from the vocal, that it was Dionne Warwick. And I put together the clues, much like Robin did tonight, that 1979 that we showed on the football jerseys last week was the year of her self-titled album, Dionne, which was also her first platinum record. And my brother pointed out to me, I thought all the gold, like pom-poms and stuff, were for her gold records, which may be part of it too. But my brother pointed out last week, after talking with him, that she was the host, rather, of Solid Gold, the old R&B dance TV show for years. So that makes sense, and they kind of talked about that as well tonight. And then the football motif last week, she is a huge Raiders fan, and actually got to be sort of an honorary coach of the Raiders a couple years ago, or a couple decades ago. I think she said 20 years ago. So, but it was pretty clear from the voice that God bless her, it's Dionne Warwick. Some of these legends, it's hard to cover their voice up. Now, Gladys Knight, the first season was hard because she was picking a lot of really contemporary songs. Like, I think she did a Sia song. She was picking a lot more contemporary stuff. But like last year, who was it? I can't remember now. But even she was like, oh, well, yeah, everybody knows my voice. Patti LaBelle. And then, last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, with Shaka Khan, I was pretty sure it was somebody sort of reining their voice in, which I think Shaka was. I don't think Shaka Khan's voice is as identifiable instantly as Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, or Dionne Warwick, but and that's how I knew it wasn't Tina Turner either. I feel like Tina Turner's voice is very, very identifiable. Not to mention the clues weren't really, pointed in that direction. Although with all the gold, Ken kept saying like she did the theme song to GoldenEye, so it's got to be her, which was silly to me. But all right, so pretty quick show this week because I'm holding firm on most of my guesses. The only one I've switched really is Bob Saget to Tom Bergeron, and I still don't know who the banana is. I'm not confident in my Bret Michaels guess, but I don't know. Nobody seems to be saying that, so I'll kind of toss one out there. Maybe I'm right. It would be rare, but yeah, I definitely think Bow Wow is for me 100%. Sarah Hyland, I'm pretty sure on, pretty confident there. And now, after really hearing the voice and seeing both clue packages, I'm pretty confident on Tom Bergeron too. So a few real slam dunks there. And so next week will be the final week with these guys, and then they're pared down to 3. And then the week after, we meet Group C, 6 more people. And that will be the last group for this new season. So very interesting stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment below with your guesses. I love hearing from you guys. We've got a few of you that really are following this along with me and commenting, and I love it. Please keep it up. I love hearing your opinions. You guys have definitely turned me around on a couple things throughout this season. So between you guys, talking to my brother, and talking to my friend's mom, I've got a good good group of people that are following this as closely as I am. So definitely love to hear you guys in the comments, and subscribe if you haven't. By the way, I'm almost at 400 subscribers, so it would be great to have you aboard as well. And that's going to do it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.